My whole life has always been about other people. When I left to go to college, my dad was like, hey, don't you come back without your papers. I left college early and went back and graduated because that's what I was supposed to do for him. You know what I mean? It was never about me. Me going to the pros and me, like, that was always about being able to provide for my mom. I never lived in a house growing up. I always lived in apartments. So I wanted to buy my mom her first house. You know what I mean? So, like, it's always been about other people for me. I think when your purpose is much deeper and more about other people and being selfless, it's more rewarding.
That's right.
The man, the legend.
Yes.
Mr. Cliff Avril in the house today, baby.
Yes.
Give it up.
Yes.
Give it up. We're gonna make it clear, baby.
Appreciate you being here.
Oh, of course. You guys, I don't know if you guys understand kind of what you guys mean to, whether it be Seattle, but the real estate culture in general. I mean, I have so many guys like, hey, you know, Thach, you know, the Springboard guy. Like, so you guys are clearly doing a great job in motivating people to chase their dreams in the real estate space too. So thank you again for having me.
Yeah, of course.
You know, it's funny, man. You say that, bro, because there's so many people in this space now. Steph and I were just talking about this morning in our meeting. Everybody want to be a real estate coach.
but nobody's doing it.
Yeah, right?
That's the other part, right? Is everyone there are a lot of quote unquote gurus out there, but then when you comb through it, a lot of folks aren't really doing what they say they're doing. A lot of folks are just reading
What's
books.
crazy, bro, is that somebody just basically just came out of high school, right?
Yeah.
And they understand how to work their social media game, and then all of a sudden, you know, they're 21 and a half years old selling coaching
classes. I mean, it's a hustle. It's a hustle.
Straight hustle.
That's all it is.
And then it's just getting the consumer just like more and more confused. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Right? Is it that easy?
And it's not.
Yeah.
And it's so much like we all know, it's never about even just what that goal is that we have in mind. It's what's the vision behind it? What's the meaning behind it? What's the purpose behind it? What is the reason why we want that thing anyway? And that's the thing that we see in you, Cliff, very easily is that the things you do go beyond just the right now action and even the outcome that is very clearly in front of you, but also what's the reason behind it? What's the purpose behind all of that? And I think that's a spot where so many people don't even know that's what they're looking for. Yeah. But it really is the thing that they've got their compass set for that. And so I think when they spot it and when they find it, it kind of gives them a sense of, I found my spot.
Yeah, I think with just a lot of individuals, right? We're all trying to seek and find, you know, our purpose. And sometimes we end up chasing somebody else's purpose, not even realizing,
100%.
you know what I mean, that's what you're doing. But I've always been, even in football, I've always been the person to understand, like, being okay with delayed gratification.
Yeah,
right?
that's so important.
Like, and I think we live in a society where everything's so quick, everything's microwave. We want it now, right? Yeah. And with football as an example, that what has taught me is, you know, we always think about these guys and how they perform on, you know, November 2nd, but that guy's been training since February. Yeah. You know, he's been training and putting work in since the offseason, you know, the beginning of off season.
Since 2015.
Exactly.
But let's be honest, he's been training since he's been in elementary school.
Exactly. No, you're right. Like, guys been training, you know, for a long time just for that moment. So understanding delayed gratification, I think, is huge, but you have to put the work in regardless, right? And then, you know, as you continue to keep working towards your goal, at some point you're gonna be like, whoa, I'm really here, but there's more to go to. You know what I mean? So but I think finding your purpose is everything.
Yeah, that's why I always say, man, it's like when I see these young cat out there teaching real estate, I'm thinking, man, how much training had that cat? He skipped Little League. Yeah. He skipped high school. He skipped college. Then he's selling Super Bowl tickets. You know what I mean? Like, in real estate. Yeah. And that's why I Steph and I, you know, with Springboard, we really want to, like, make sure we do it right, because we don't want to sell no hocus pocus shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's why we always want to interview students that actually are really doing it, right? And I think we do the work right. Yeah. Right. It will take care of itself. Absolutely. And I think that with the feedback I hear from you, what people are saying. Yeah. I'm glad. That's the bullseye that we're trying for.
No doubt. And to even dive deeper, because I get a lot of people, like I said, hey man, you know, Thach, is he really doing what he's doing? And I'm like, look, I've never done business with Thach. Right. But before I even knew about Springboard and all these different things, like I've gone on, like we've taken half a day and have actually gone to senior properties, right? Whether it be, multifamily things that you're developing, whatever it may be, the ADUs or whatnot, like I've seen those things, right? So I can vouch for that. Like he's really doing that, you know what I mean? But I don't think a lot of these folks that are out here that are saying they're into real estate, most of them folks can't do that. You know what I mean? So it is hats off to you.
And especially new construction, bro.
That's
a whole nother level.
That's a whole different beast right there. Mm-hmm. So just to know that, hey, like, I mean, there's times I've text you, hey, what do you think about these types of things? Because I know you're actually experiencing it, right? So again, hats off to you guys. And also making it much more than just you guys, right? I think one of the things you guys have as far as for Springboard is like, hey, you want to create a certain amount of millionaires or something like that.
Yeah, happy millionaires.
Happy millionaires, right? Happy millionaires. That's like it's deeper than just you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I've come to realize and find out that from all the successful people that I know, whether it be in real estate, whether it be in tech or whatever it may be, like all of them are thinking outside of themselves.
That's right.
They're thinking, much more than just themselves and giving back into the community. That's essentially what you guys are doing. So again,
well,
hats
you
off
think
to you
about
guys.
it, bro. Like even you right now, right? I see you out there giving games to everybody outside of you.
Yeah.
Your friends, your followers, your kids.
Yeah, that's most
right?
important. Yeah, yeah.
It's because at some point, we are taken care of.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you really can focus on like, it ain't about you at the beginning anyways.
From the jump. Yeah.
Right. And if you really focus on, it ain't about you anyway. I think all of us, we just instrument right now to be used to the fullest in whatever platform it is. You happen to be in football.
Yeah.
Now it's real estate. But if it ain't about us from day one, then really who is it about? Right. It's really about making a difference.
I agree. I mean, my whole life has always been about other people. Like me wanting to get to the NFL, me wanting to go to college was always, I wanted to prove to my dad that when I left to go to college, my dad was like, hey, don't you come back without your papers.
Yeah.
Like, don't come back without a degree, essentially, right? So I left college early and went back and graduated because that's what I was supposed to do for him. You know what I mean? It was never about me. Me going to the pros and me, like, that was always about being able to provide for my mom. You know what I mean? I never lived in a house growing up. I always lived in apartments. So I wanted to buy my mom her first house. You know what I mean? So like it's always been about other people for me. Now don't get me wrong, I get to reap some of the rewards of it. But
that's a side benefit.
Yeah, exactly. But it's always been about my mom. It's been about my wife, my kids. And now it's all about my friends and family, like trying to show them a way as well. So I think when your purpose is much deeper and more about other people and being selfless, I think it gives you purpose and keep driving, but also it's more rewarding.
Yeah.
It ain't no fun if you could just do it yourself. It's like, it's way more rewarding. It's a lot more fun if you can bring people along with you on the journey.
Yeah, no question. And when you kind of think back to the journey of getting, let's say, to the NFL or creating, it seems like there's a lot of parallels between your journey to the NFL and then growing yourself as not only a real estate investor, but a philanthropist as well. Right. Like there's so much purpose behind what you do. And you're talking about delayed gratification before. It made me think of what do you notice is the balance between there's this need for delayed gratification, but at the same time, there's time to strike while the iron's hot. Like the opportunities are there when they're there. And what have you learned about that sort of thing of you got to do the stuff you're doing right now while the opportunity's in front of you, and then balancing that against delayed gratification? What do you know about that tension?
So I'm always about trusting the process. So because it's easy sometimes for you to chase every shiny object, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a thing, right? So I think for me, it's more of just continue to keep putting the work in and not allowing things to persuade you. Yes, but you do have to react and you do have to jump off the porch at some point and go make things happen. Like, right? So there's only so much podcast you can listen to. There's only so many books you can read. At some point, you got to go apply it.
That's right.
But in applying it though, I'm still big on, and this is just my personal opinion, I know some of these gurus tell you differently, is I'm big on crawling before you walk.
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
Starting off small and building because there's things you're going to learn through the process. Now, there's ways of speeding that up, but I don't think your first project should be 150 units.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but some of these gurus
First of all,
are telling you.
I don't think most banks would sign a contract.
That's
Let
true,
alone
too.
most friends might not give you the money.
That's true. No, that's true. But these gurus will tell you like, oh man, go get you 100 units off top. And it's like, nah, it's okay to start off with a duplex. It's okay to start off with a single family, right? And learn and then keep building from there. So I would say, going back to your question, Stephanie, is more about being disciplined.
Yeah.
Being disciplined and putting the work in, but not just coming out of the gate sprinting and trying to get, whatever looks good in the moment, because you don't know what's around that corner, right? But if you get you a single family, you get you a duplex, all right, you learn something from it. Now, okay, go get you a 10 unit. Okay, you're gonna learn something from it, because they do say, and I'm noticing the same amount of energy that goes into a 50 unit goes into a duplex.
That's right.
But the fall isn't as big though.
That's
Yeah.
right.
You know what I mean?
And the down payment is not as big.
Exactly.
Right? But yeah, I agree. But again, this is one thing that most guru never talks about.
Yeah.
They got that 100 unit because they traded up a 40 unit.
That part, yes, exactly.
But they never talked about they got that 40 unit from 3 10plexes.
Yep.
And those 10plexes, they got it from 4plexes.
Yep.
And they got those 10 4plexes from a couple of single family, right? And they got some of those single family by raising money from their friends.
Yep.
Right? So all of it. I don't think anybody's brand new who ain't got no money is gonna go, let me raise capital for my friends and family to do 100 unit tomorrow.
At least that's ill-advised. That is, it's not a responsible way to approach other people's money anyway.
Plus, you don't even know what you don't even know.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, the experience is what gives you the education, right? Like, it's like how we live life. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why we tell our kids certain things, is because our experience has showed us hey, that stove is hot. You probably shouldn't touch that.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? But if you don't know, you're gonna go, oh, it's red. Let me touch it and burn the heck out your hand, right? So it's no different in the sense of how you approach all of this. It's crawl before you walk, but the experience is the learning piece of it. You're gonna take some losses. You're gonna take some L's here and there. But if you go get that 100 unit and you take an L, you might not bounce back from that for 10 years.
Exactly.
But if you take a L from a
duplex,
okay, you can bounce back within a year or so. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like I don't believe in that whole mantra of just jumping off the porch and going big or go home.
That's
like,
right.
Nah, there's a lot of lessons.
Do you think, because real estate investing, it is a long game.
1,000%.
And it's about delayed gratification.
For sure.
Right? Do you think that it was easier for you to jump into real estate investing, especially long term? I'm not talking about flipping, because you build and sell, what I call active income.
Yep.
But you're also owning rental.
Yep.
And that's what I call, the long game.
Yes, sir.
Do you think, bro, that your mindset adapting to delayed gratification came from your NFL experience, from you play Little League, you play high school, you work your ass off through college to get to the NFL, all that was delayed. You didn't go from middle school all the way to NFL.
Yeah.
Do you think all that preparation, all that experience, your journey from playing football all the way to the NFL helped you with the mindset of delayed gratification? Because there's a lot of people, they don't want that delayed gratification. They want that microwave gratification.
They want it right now.
What do you think, bro? You think that NFL will help you?
I 1,000%. But I think it only helped me because I was able to recognize that's what I went through. Because even some athletes, and I have to tell them sometimes, like, hey, bro, like, you've been playing football since you were 10. You don't make your big contract till you're 25, 26. Like, you've been at this for 15, 16, 17 years. And you're not even, so sometimes athletes don't even recognize it. But honestly, during COVID, it was one of those things where it was like, oh man, like, it's crazy. I've been playing football since I was in high school. I've been playing football for, I didn't get my first big deal until I was 26 years old. At that point, I had been playing football for 12, 13 years, right? So then I just started thinking more and more about it. Like, that's how all of this works. Like, I bought my mom her house 15 years ago, and it's the best investment that I made. It was the first big investment that I bought, right? And her house has almost tripled in value since then, right? So, like, just looking back at certain things, it started making me think like, oh man, things take time.
Yeah.
Things take nothing that happens quick is something, one, worth having, and two, there's really no growth happening there. Like, it doesn't make so things take, and I learned that from football, but also just honestly my life experience over the last 39 years.
Well, there's no such thing as an overnight success. It may appear that way from social media or whatever we see in someone else's experience, but it all comes from the seeds and the years of harvest and figuring out what that is.
What's interesting stuff is that they can make TikTok, Instagram, how to make money overnight.
Yeah.
But I ain't seen nobody make TikTok, Instagram, how to be a Super Bowl champion overnight.
That part, exactly.
You know what I mean?
None of it happens. None of it happens.
So that's why it's interesting because everybody want to make, cause even my boy Russell showed me the other day on this TikTok, this cat go in, did an e-commerce. He's making 20 grand a week.
Yeah.
And Russell like, look at this. I'm thinking, man, we don't know what else behind the scenes this video, right?
Yeah.
But there's nobody ever talking about instant gratification going from Little League to NFL.
Yep. But also, I think there's something to it too. Like there's something to it in the sense of like the quicker it comes, the less you respect it too. You know what I'm saying? Like, so the quicker it's going to leave as well. Yeah. You know what I mean? So and growing up where I grew up, the guys that was making the fast money, a lot of them end up dead or in jail.
Of course.
Like so that's like nothing happens quick.
Right.
Everything takes time and you have to be patient. You have to trust the process. Because if everything came quick, then all of us would be doing it and there would be no value in it anyways.
Right.
You know what I mean? So everything takes time. We just got to be patient with the process.
And even you're speaking to, even in people in the same situation or circumstance, still only some find the wisdom and the lessons and the learning along the way with it. So do you have, what would you say separates people who, let's say, get to a Super Bowl? Sometimes that's not even the most talented team or the best team. There's so much in the fierce competition that it takes to get from here to there. But having lived it twice with two different outcomes, there's real lessons in each one of those experiences. What would you say it is that separates people who are able to achieve? That is a world-class level of achievement.
No doubt.
And so what do you think it is that separates those of you that are able to accomplish that level of success?
I think the competitiveness in everybody that was involved.
Yeah.
No one wanted to be the weakest link on that team.
That's right.
Right? Michael Bennett is my best friend to this day. We travel, we do a lot of different things, right? I wanted to have more sacks than him. He wanted to have more. And when he got a sack, I was genuinely happy for him. In the same breath, I also wanted to make sure I went and got one too.
That's
right?
right. That's right.
It's friendly competition in every level, whether
You're
it's
bettering
at practice,
each other through that.
iron sharpens iron.
That's right.
Right. And that was what that team had. But more so, we were all actually friends.
Yes.
We all got along. We all traveled with one another. If I had a birthday party for one of my kids, like everybody on that defense was probably going to bring their kids, right?
Yeah.
So I think it was a little bit of all of those things where we compete, iron sharpens iron. We're going to hold each other accountable, and we genuinely like one another. And I think those three things were the reason why we were able to have the success we had. And honestly, that's what I try to implement in my business now, is making sure that like iron sharpens iron. We're going to enjoy ourselves, but we're going to respect one another, but appreciating everyone too. Yeah. Because I've said this, real estate's the ultimate team sport.
Yes, it is.
Football is the ultimate team sport.
Right.
Yes.
Like Russell Wilson isn't who he is if he doesn't have those guys blocking for him.
That's right.
100%.
Michael Bennett isn't who he is if we don't have Richard Sherman behind us, if he doesn't have Cliff Avril next to him, and vice versa. I'm not who I am. So it's the same thing with real estate, right? Like your team is everything from contractors to the bankers to your business partners. Your team is everything, and everybody has to respect what the other person brings to the table.
Right.
That trust and chemistry. Chemistry is so huge. I think that's true in like even successful personal relationships too, beyond just business.
Yes.
Those things all click together.
But here's the thing I realize. Most people, they don't take the time to go find good team members.
Yes.
If you talk about real estate, most of the people, they want to just get in, make fast money.
And get out. Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
To build a Super Bowl team in real estate, in my opinion, you got to spend time and vet the good contractor.
Sure.
And you got to have multiple a contractor do high-end build, a contractor that actually do everyday rental.
Yeah.
Right? A contractor does apartment building because apartment building contract don't do residential.
Yep, it's different.
Right? Many different bankers. Right? You got residential lenders, you got commercial lender, hard middle lender. You know what I mean? They're different for everything. But how many people take the time to actually put together an A team like we talked about in the past?
Yeah. And I think you're doing yourself a disservice, right? Like if you're not putting the right people around you that want the same thing, right? Of course, everybody wants to be compensated, but you want the people that take pride in what they do too. Right. You know what I'm saying? And that takes you making sure that you're paying people on time and you're doing your part of it as well. But your team is everything. And I'm talking about entrepreneurship. I'm talking about sports. I'm talking about even if parenting, like your team is everything. And understanding that no one yeah, you might feel like you're taking on the load right now, but that day that you need to take that break or whatever it may be, like you need your teammate to be able to pick you up, right? You need your teammate, and you have to be able to. I think one more thing with the Seahawks too was like, I wasn't just playing for my family anymore.
Yeah.
I was playing for Michael Bennett's family. I was playing for Richard Sherman's family. I was
That's
playing for like understanding it, because that by itself adds a little bit more pressure, but it also makes you willing to take it that much more, like that further.
It
that
adds
much
that layer
further.
of purpose to it.
1,000%.
Right.
So that's how I try to approach life with people I do business with. That's how I try to approach life. Just all the way around is making sure that the people I'm surrounding myself with are people that are aligned in that same way.
I think that's a secret formula.
It is,
right?
For sure. And there's part of that is knowing what are your standards, what are your priorities, what are your values,
What's your purpose?
what's your purpose, so you can then attract and vet people according to those standards. And it's about, like you said, valuing each person. It made me think of the other day, my husband and I were at Home Depot looking at some appliances. We have to replace something in one of our rentals. And the woman was the most passionate appliance person I'd ever heard in my life. She was like, did you know that you should run the hot water for like 15 seconds to a minute before you turn on your dishwasher in order for it to, do you know that this is how this refrigerator works and how this freezer works? And I was just like, this woman is in her passion.
She loves it.
And how much better can you get than the person on your team who loves the minutia or the finite thing that I'm not going to spend another minute thinking about my refrigerator, but she's got it on lock. And just how much value, the pride that she shows in her craft, and to appreciate what she brings, no matter how big or small the part of the machine. I was like, I've never seen somebody so passionate and knowledgeable about appliances in my damn life.
And I don't think someone like her, like whoever this lady is, like, she will be successful.
Yes.
In anything she do.
And anything she does, because she takes pride in what she does,
Exactly.
right? So like, I think that's something we're lacking too, is like taking pride in, and I don't care if you're a waiter, I don't care, like whatever that job is, right? Take pride in it, because like, one, you just don't know who you're bumping into and who you're running into. But then two, like if you take pride in the things that you do, like I feel like it's inevitable that you will be successful in whatever space, because when you take pride in something, you're always willing to put, the best version of yourself out there.
Yeah.
Do you think when you was playing football in Little League and work your way through high school and college and pro, do you think you have those kind of characteristics and pride, the vision, the purpose?
So
what do you think?
I didn't start playing football till high school. So I was late to the party. I was a late bloomer, as they would say. But did I take pride in it? I think I learned to take pride in things, but I was very competitive.
Okay.
So I guess that was my version of pride. Like I love to compete. Like till this day, like I love to compete on so many levels. Even we're talking about my kids, we talking about my wife. Like we go outside, I'm trying to win. You know what I mean? So I think that was what it was, is because I hate losing more than I actually like winning.
Same. Same.
You know
I barely care.
yeah.
Winning to me is just like obvious. It should happen.
It should happen.
And if it doesn't happen, I'm like, no, unacceptable.
But I love to compete, and I think that's where my pride comes in. Is like I in order to be the best version of myself and to compete, like I have to care about what it is I'm doing, right? So that's where it is for me. Is I've learned to love competing, and love to learn to making sure that I'm putting the best version of myself out there. Yeah. And I think that's what's helped me honestly have success in football. Now trying to have a little bit of success in real estate is because of that pride, that love to compete.
Did you?
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was gonna say. I think you probably thought to ask the same question I was gonna ask you, right? But do you think you had that in you from day one, or that's something you learned? You think somebody's born with that, like your kids? You know
I think you can learn it.
Okay,
I think you can learn to compete. Like I'm trying to instill that in my kids, right? Like not being okay, just being okay.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like wanting to make sure you put the best version of yourself out there.
Okay.
I think it can be learned, but I think I'd say like 25% of it is in you too, though.
Okay.
Right. I think you're born with like the want to, and I think everybody has that. They just have to figure out what space that is that they want to compete and be their best version of themselves. But then football taught me this, because football it only rewards you if you're that way.
That's sports, right? Anything.
And that's why I love sports. Right. Is like, you're not going, like, unless you decide you want to be passionate and you decide that you want to be good at this thing, that's the only way you're going to be good at this thing.
And it don't matter how rich your mom and dad is. They
can't
pay you for a seat on the team.
They can't pay. They might be able to get you on to pay for it while you're in elementary, but like college and the pro, like they don't care about that. You got to earn it, man. You got to earn your keeps with sports.
Yeah.
When did you start to think about your life after football?
Ooh, that's a great one. So the whole time I was in the NFL, I was on pins and needles my entire career, in a sense of like just understanding I'm one play away from having to retire, right? Whether it's some type of injury, a coach that dislikes you, or whatever it may be, right? So I've always kind of processed and thought about it, but I didn't get serious about it until about year 5, year 6, where I'm like, okay, I know I don't have another 6 years left in me. Like I'm just rolling out of the bed is a little bit harder now. You know what I mean?
And you got your whole life to think about what you're doing to your body in that moment.
No doubt, no doubt. So for me, it was right around year 6 where I started taking classes that the NFL offered. You know, whether it be entrepreneurship, whether it be real estate, whether it be broadcasting, all the, you know, financial literacy, all these different things. That's where I started kind of making sure every off season I would take 1 or 2 courses and go and spend a week or 2 and diving deep into them just to see what else I like to do, what else it is I want. Because in order to be a great football player, like you have to be passionate about it, but you have to be all in too. So, but to be able to like say, okay, this thing is going to end someday, because most of us are afraid of thinking about that because we think it'll come too soon. You know what I mean? Like it's just something with the mind, right? But for me, it was just like, okay, I can still be an elite athlete and still process and think about what else I'm passionate about or what else would I want to do. So I would say right around year 6, year 7, year 8 is I started prepping for it. And then honestly, the blessing of all that was when I got to year 10 and I had to retire, I had done well financially. I was already kind of doing real estate and different things like that. So it made my transition a little bit easier than some guys that honestly hadn't started thinking about it.
And so thinking about that transition, was that a transition of it was financially easier? It was identity easier? Like, 'cause I don't know that there's anything that can replace the kind of intensity that you get playing high level sports against other world-class athletes. I don't know that there's a way to replace the teamwork and the adrenaline and just the identity of like, I am a football player. I'm an NFL player. And so I'm curious about when you say made the transition easier, what levels are you talking about?
I think
with that?
identity. I mean, financially too, but I think identity is the biggest thing. I think that's where everybody kind of loses themselves a little bit. Yeah. But I can honestly say that I've always said football is what I do, not who I am,
100%.
Because I knew it would end someday.
Where'd you learn that from, bro?
Just listening to veterans, listen to the older guys, listening. And I remember going through the combine process, and a coach said this to me. He's like, "Man, if you're blessed, if you're fortunate to play 10 years in the NFL, that's a small window in your life." You know what I mean? Like, and there's no other level to go past that, right? So it's a small window in your life. So if you're fortunate, you retire at 34, 35 years old, right? You still have another 35, 40 years left, Lord willing, right? So to me, it was like, okay, well, if that's going to end, why would I say that's me? You know what I mean? So like, it was just more of just putting pieces together and understanding.
There's a lot of humility and wisdom in being able to find that perspective in that place in your life. Because I can see how it also takes a certain amount of just massive sense of self to go and do the work. And to like expect to be one of the ones that are blessed with that experience and opportunity. And then to have the humility and the wisdom to hear that information and go, what if that's true? Instead of like, oh no, I'll be the one that the hubris of youth sometimes steps on the places that, and I hear the wisdom also of like, you started looking at this while you were in the place of having active income that could support planting these seeds very proactively and very strong.
Yes.
And so how did you land on real estate? Of all the things you kind of looked at and the things you were sampling, how did you land that real estate was the thing that really spoke to you?
And you mentioned also you was already investing in real estate when you were playing too, right?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So when I was playing, I was investing in different funds and syndications and different things like that. But honestly, so as an athlete, and this is more younger athletes, because everyone wants to be around you because you play sports, a lot of times we're standoffish, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you know,
what do you want from me?
Yeah, what do you want from me? Because you get a lot of hands out. Like everybody wants something from you. So a lot of times you're standoffish, and you know, to some people you might look like a jerk, but then like to break it down is like that. Like if you can't trust anybody that's around you. That's tough, right? Like,
really tough.
So you're always going to be standoffish. But when I got to Seattle and obviously we were having success on the football field, I decided, I was like, okay, this is one of the few cities where the athletes aren't probably the top earners.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Right.
So that's humbling in itself. Now it's like, okay, so there's a whole nother level to this, right? There's not now, because I'm not even just thinking about the guys that are writing our checks. I'm thinking about the guys that are in the C-suites, the guys that are in the suites watching these games, right? So now I'm just started processing it from that perspective. And then now I'm like, okay, well, let me get into the community and start meeting different people. You know what I mean? And so I started meeting different execs, and I was fortunate enough to like, there wasn't one CEO that I probably couldn't talk to or get a contact on in the city during that time. That's what I started doing. So I started meeting with different folks and just talking and not even talking about business or anything like that. But somehow I come around to, oh, like, what is it that you do now? Or what are you investing in? Because I want to learn. And all of them, every last one of them, whether they make their money in tech, whether they made their money selling a company, whatever it may have been, all of them owned real estate to some degree. Whether it's they have a family office and they have a branch just for real estate or whatever. So I'm like, okay, well, why is that? Like, you have a bunch of money. Why are you? Oh, okay. Now I'm doing my research. It's like, oh, the tax advantages, the cash flow, the wealth, the appreciation. Like, it's a way of their wealth continue to grow. You know what I mean? Something they could pass on later on in life. Like, so all these things, it just started resonating. Okay, well, let me dive deeper into this thing. And then now I'm looking at it like, okay, maybe I started investing in it too. Right. Now to the point where I'm like, you know what? I want to create my own company and start doing it so I can help my friends and family. But also, it's something I can leave my kids. Yeah. It's something they can learn and give, and it can continue. It can be the gift that keeps on giving. I don't even consider myself just an investor. Like, I'm a housing provider. Yeah,
right. That's a good mindset.
Right. So so I'm not here to be a slumlord. Like, I provide housing as well. So I'm still kind of giving, and I think both can exist. Yeah. I think you can do philanthropy and still make money. Right.
That's
so
right. Philanthropreneur.
For me,
that's what we call it.
Exactly. Right. So for me, it's still part of my purpose. I'm still finding ways to give back, and I created a business out of it for my kids to be able to do the same.
And I like the mindset of what he says, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody think give back is us writing a check.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
But they don't realize contributing also look, hey, I'm providing more housing because we're short right now, depending where you read. We're short over 5 million homes across America.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And so for you out here building houses, provide housing, you contributing to the part of inventory.
Exactly. I mean, like you just said, right? There's a housing shortage in the country. There's been a housing shortage, they say, for the last 12, 15 years. That's right. So if you can be a part of the solution of creating housing, why not? Right. Why not? And and you're gonna make some money doing it and all that stuff too. But you're doing what everybody else is doing in a sense from a business perspective, right? You find a problem and you try to solve it. Yeah. Yeah. That's all we're doing in the real estate space. Right. There's a huge housing shortage. All right, we're trying to solve it, and we're gonna make some money doing it. We're gonna take advantage of the tax benefits. And even the tax benefits piece too, right? What I had to learn, because growing up, you hear about how the wealthy do things and all this other stuff. What I've come to learn and realize is anytime you're helping the government do something, there's a tax break. Something like, so if the government had to go create housing, that would be an issue, right? So you're creating housing for the government, so they give you a tax break on it. So that's how I view it now. It's like, oh, okay, the tax break is coming because I'm taking something out of the government's hand and creating it for them. And none of us want the government to create housing for us anyway. Right. We've seen how that played out in the 80s and 90s, right? So if we can create our own and get some of those breaks and different things, why not? Why not?
And people don't realize, we talked about this a lot. Man, the tax benefit, it's damn good or even better than the passive income. Because a lot of people are like, I just want to focus on passive income only. Yeah. Right? And then they buy property in a certain area where they just don't have no appreciation. Yeah. Right? They have the tax write-off. They have some appreciation. But I would try to educate a lot of people that are high earners, athletes, executive, builders, flippers. There's a lot of builders out there that build houses. They don't own the rentals. Yeah. And every one of those builders that I've met that do that all regret not holding on to it. For sure.
100%.
My business partner now, he's been doing it for 25 years. Yeah. He's like, man, I wish I would have kept some. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And the thing is, if you're a builder building, luxury estate.
Yeah.
You just got to shift the mindset on. That's my way how I make active income.
Yep.
But I need to shift my mindset on buying property for rental is a different type of product.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
and so
very
they think
much.
sometimes it's like, I'm building a luxury home that's 3, 4, 5 million. How am I supposed to keep this?
Yeah.
Wait,
Don't.
we just got to shift the product.
You gotta shift
The mindset.
The mindset. I agree 1,000%. You know, and that's a tough thing, right? Everybody's battling what makes sense to them, right? And in whatever space they're in. But there's so many different types of product in real estate that you can build to hold on to, right? Your rentals aren't gonna be the luxury,
right?
I mean, like
$5 million home.
Yeah, it's not gonna make any sense, right? But every builder that I've met, all of them, all have said, "Man, I wish I would have. I wish I would have held on to a few properties."
What would you say are your favorite properties or types of product that you have added to your portfolio, or
like to build, like to keep?
build? Like, what's your favorite?
I'm multifamily. I'm trying to scale now. I'm in the process of scaling, even in this economic downturn, I guess, as you would say, for real estate. But multifamily is kind of the space I want to be in, right? And for me, multifamily makes sense because I have, say a 50 unit, 58 unit, 60 unit, whatever it may be. Instead of having 60 homes for me and 60 roofs and 68, like I can have maybe just 2 roofs or 3 roofs instead. You know what I mean? So that makes sense. But then also, again, it's needed, right? Like the cost to build one single family home and the cost to build, a 20 unit. I mean, the numbers make more sense with the type of return that you would get on it, right? So multifamily is where I want to be. We're building or buying anything between 20 to 100 units. The stuff that we're buying is all value add. So we're forcing appreciation that way. But then also on the development side, right? It's still a sort of value add play where you go in, you develop this property, and you get it leased up, and the value is a lot more. Again, interest rates and cap rates, and there's other things that play a role in that, but you're still forcing appreciation to some degree, right? So multifamily, 20 to 100 units is kind of space I want to play in.
How did you get exposed to choosing multifamily? It's like, when you got started, you hear all these people talking about investing in real estate, right? And you just got into the real estate game. And then how did you decide I'm going to do multifamily versus single family right off the back? And you came out and you did a couple of single family, but you jumped right into multifamily right away. Exactly. How'd you get exposed to that?
Or even stepping away from the syndication, which could be an idea of multifamily, but was a different vision than what you fulfilled.
That's so true with the syndications.
But you was investing in some syndication and doing
syndications and funds and different things. And honestly, that's what gave me the clarity, right? Is like, okay, you start looking when you're active in something else, right? Like I'm playing football. I don't really have the time to dive deep and manage. Syndication made sense, right?
That's right.
But once I retired and I started looking at all the different, fees that are associated with it, the acquisition fee, the disposition fee, the refinance, all these different fees, you're like, oh, well, I could probably make more. You know what I'm saying? If I did it myself. But now you're giving up your time and different things like that, right? But getting back to your question as far as for how did I get to multifamily, I started off with 2 single family. I started off with 2 condos. And then I bought like a triplex after that. And the reason I even decided to go buy a triplex was because what I realized with the single family is either you're 100% occupied or zero, or you know what I mean? Nice. So, or 0%, right? So that was like, okay. Then I went and bought the triplex. I'm like, okay, one person left and I still have enough cash flow to pay the bills, right? So I'm like, okay, well, that makes a lot of sense. So then that's when I started scaling and doing more multifamilies because really it's the occupancy and the vacancy component of it. Having just one tenant or having 10 or 15 tenants, nothing really changes but your cash flow, but they're still paying down your mortgage. They're still paying. There's still a lot of tax advantages with that, and I don't have to write a check when a tenant leaves.
Do you think if a new investor come in, let's say a friend of yours, depending on how much money they have, right? If they have decent amount of cash, will you tell them to jump into multifamily right away, or do some duplexes at first, crawl before you can run? What would you say to these people?
1,000%. I'm still crawling before you can walk, before you can run. I think if you have some capital, and it depends on where you're at in life.
That's right.
So like my little cousins and my little sister, like I'm telling them they should get into real estate. I'm telling them they should house hack. Get you a duplex, get you a fourplex or something like that. Live in one, rent out the other ones. You're living for free. Now you still get to stack your bread up, right?
That's right.
But then if you already have some money and you're first getting into it, instead of house hacking, but I still would tell you to get you a duplex or a triplex.
That's right.
You don't need to go get you the 10, 15, 20 unit, 100 units. I think get you one of those, learn the business of it.
Right.
Because I give this example all the time, right? I can tell you how to go get a sack against Aaron Rodgers. I can tell you how to do that, right? But to be honest with you, up until you watch, and you're going to watch film, you're going to practice, but up until you're on 3rd down and 3, 3rd down and 4, and you actually have to go out there and pass rush consistently, day in and day out, that's when you're going to actually learn how to pass rush. Yeah. So again, you can read about it. You can get on Instagram about it. You can think, because I've had people like, man, you need to do this rush move more often. Like, you've never played. I can tell. You know what I mean? So at some point, you're going to have to go out there and do it. Right. So that's why I say, read all the books, lead all the podcasts, then get you a 3 unit, get you a 4 unit. Start off with that and learn from that. And then go get you another, 10 units or something like that. Learn from that and then continue to scale from there. But I would never tell anyone to go out there and just drop $3, $4, $5 million on, 50 units. Like,
and they never did a rush pass in their life.
And never pass rush a day in their life. But you want to go out there and try to, go against big Walter Jones or something like that. Yeah, you're going to get your face broke.
Let
me know how that
100%.
goes.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
It's not going to end well for you.
But it's so interesting, bro. No, people can't take this concept. You know what I mean? You got to walk, you go crawl before you can walk, right?
Yeah, it's everything, but that's life.
Yeah,
that's life, right? Like your experiences are what teaches you everything.
Yeah,
like that's why the whole notion of like, again, I talk about kids, like my kids, to expect them to understand what the world is about, but they've never experienced it, is foolish, right? Why would you ever let your kids go into the world without? That's why you're there to teach them. Yeah. And then, they'll take some lumps here, but it won't be as big of a lump, right? They'll fall, but they won't be falling down the hill. They'll just fall down one step.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So,
but they need to take those lumps.
And they have to value. There's value in those natural consequences. The internalization of those experiences matter.
1,000%. 1,000%. It's like when your kids, my wife and I, we would debate on this. Like when you see a kid fall, right? The kids are always going to look to see what your reaction is. Yeah. If you hurry up and run and pick them up, every single time they fall, they're going to look for that same thing. Sometimes you got to just let them learn that they can get up on their own, right? But you have to take that lump to realize, oh, it wasn't that bad. Yeah. You know what I mean? I can do this on my own.
I can get up.
Yeah, exactly. I can get up. Yeah. So kids are smart like that too.
Well, and you really have done a lot to bring the learning that you have and the experience you have as an investor to, like you said, people that are coming up behind you. Talk a little bit about some of that work that you're doing to really share the wealth and bring what you know to people who you're reaching back to kind of help bring other people along.
I think it's important. As you know better, you do better. And I think it's always good to give, I say, give the game back, right? As I'm learning through this process and my experience, I want to show and teach my family and friends that don't necessarily have that mindset, don't necessarily understand it. We're not privy to this stuff, right?
There's not the exposure. Very few people have exposure to this.
Not many people have.
And trusting the right people to listen to.
That's such a good point.
That's true, right? So it's like, it's either you come from money and your folks told you about it, or you gradually learn as you make money. I was like, okay, this thing makes sense. So as I'm learning, I'm only giving you my experience though. Right? Like I'm telling you what has worked for me and what hasn't worked for me. I'm not saying it's the only way to do it. I'm not saying the way I'm doing it is even right. I'm just telling you that this has worked for me. And having somebody that they know, that they trust, I think goes a long way as well, right? So for me, as I go through the process, as I learn, as I'm picking up gems from different people, I think it's only right for me to give the game back to my cousins, my little sisters, my audience that I have on Instagram, TikTok, all these. Like, I think it's only fair to give it back. And maybe you'll listen, maybe you won't. But if you're able to get 1 or 2 people that do listen and decide to take that journey and it changes their life, like, you did a pretty good job with that.
Yeah, there's purpose in that.
There's a lot of purpose in that.
Yeah.
How many athletes friend are you, man, that reach out to you all the time, bro? Like, bro, help me get in this real estate game, because, man, we just recently, one of our student who just joined the Inner Circle, just joined. Who's that?
Travis Homer.
Travis Homer.
Oh, nice.
He just joined, bro.
Okay, good for him. Good for him.
So him and his mom is in program now.
Wow, that's awesome.
And so we're teaching him right now on how to buy the right property.
Nice.
Right.
Okay.
And, how to develop and then how to scale right now.
Nice.
And so he's super excited. So he just joined, you know what I mean?
That's the first step, right? Is like, one, you got to be serious about it. But the thing is, I think with the athletes, it's like for us athletes, a lot of us have to be very confident. Like you have to have some kind of confidence in yourself to even go out there and play in front of 80,000 people. You have to have confidence in yourself to make it to the NFL. But sometimes that same thing, that confidence, and I'm going to say a little bit of arrogance as well, is also the reason why you don't better yourself in certain spaces too, right? Because now, you're afraid to ask for help. You're afraid to show that you're human.
Yeah.
And
you don't know everything.
And you're afraid to show that you don't know
that's
everything.
what I'm
Can
saying.
you trust? Like you were saying before, like how do you know where to find the right avenues for that information if it's hard to know where people's intentions or allegiances lie?
And I think that's why it's important for me to speak on my journey, because I don't need anything from anybody,
That's right.
right? Like I don't need anything from my family or friends. I don't need anything from some of these athletes that are asking for stuff. So it makes it easier for them to have the conversation
That's right.
with me,
That's
right?
right.
So like I think that's extremely, because I've been in those positions.
That's right.
Like I've been in positions where I don't really know who to ask what question because I don't know if I can trust them. Well, I'm telling you right now, I don't need anything from you, right? If you decide you want to invest with me, perfect, cool, whatever. But like, the show will go on. Like we're gonna, So for me, I think it's just important to do that. So with athletes, but I also understand that it's hard for us to ask for help, right? Like it's I don't know if it's ego or whatever. It's hard for us to ask for help. So for me, I take the initiative and I go talk to the Seahawks. Like, hey, I know some guys are interested in real estate. Let me just talk to the guys that are interested in it. And again, I'm not asking for anything. And the first thing I always lead off with all my guys, whenever I'm talking to the guys, is like, hey, yo, use me as a resource.
Right.
Use me and again, I'm not claiming to know everything, but I've experienced some of the things that and there's not many people that can say that they experienced your journey, right? So use me as a resource, use me and hey, here's my number, call me if you have questions. And again, I'll just share my experience with certain things, whether it be the business side of the NFL, whether it is balancing between family and friends and money, like I've experienced all those things. And I can only tell you how I've gone about it. So I do the same thing with real estate. Like use me as a resource. This is what I'm trying to do. This is what I've experienced so far. And in my opinion, this is how I think you should go about certain things. But at least you have a voice in your ear of someone that's done it.
Yeah.
That's my whole thing.
Yeah, for sure.
You've been having this mission helping athletes, bro. What do you think the biggest struggle for athletes to actually transition from NFL to life?
Identity.
Yeah.
It goes back to that. I am a football player and that's who I am. And I say this all the time too, is like the longer you play, the worse it is for you. Right? Like the Tom Brady's of the world. Now he's been able to transition, but I guarantee you that's why he came back, was because the identity component is like, and you can try to tell yourself as much as you want, like, hey, football is just what I do, football. But you've been playing for 15, 20, 30 years and you're only 40 years old. Like,
who am I?
You start to believe that that's who you are, right? Because that's what you've done for so long. So I think it's the identity piece. I think it's ego in a sense of not asking for help.
Yeah.
Because and it's not to their fault either, right? Because people associate money with wisdom.
That's true.
And power.
Right?
Yeah.
So this 25-year-old now has become the leader in his household because he has money now, but he hasn't experienced anything.
Right.
Hasn't experienced life yet.
Right.
So he still needs help.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. So like, and I was so fortunate to have an amazing dad that didn't care about any of the success stuff. It's like, you still have to live life.
That's right.
Right. He was someone I could depend on to give me the truth at all times without,
I'm not going to be overly impressed for this is nice. I like that.
I'm proud of you.
Yes, proud of you.
But you're only 25 years old.
Yes.
Right. You're only 30 years old.
You
right?
still don't know shit.
You still don't know anything.
Yes.
You still don't know anything, right? So like a lot of people don't have that.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I know some of the athletes, I've been homing with them from day one, and their mom and dad become their own fans.
Exactly. And that's
right.
usually
They blown in
the
their ear like.
And now the parents, unfortunately, they become the kids, and the kids become the parents.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
So now it's like you're asking me for advice, but like I'm 25.
Like, I definitely know how to pass rush.
Yeah,
Please do not ask me about your 401k.
Right.
Like,
but
I don't know.
I'm sorry, I can't tell you how to invest in certain things. Like, I'm still learning this.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how to do these.
And the crazy
things.
thing is, some of the parents, you know what I mean, they become their own kids groupie, right? And then they're like, man, Cliff making money, man. Cliff, man, we got to go buy a car, man.
Yeah,
we making money.
We making money.
We got to go buy some of this nice stuff. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, the kid get caught up.
And then now everybody's and think about the pressure that comes with that as a kid, right? As a 25-year-old, as a 30-year-old, the pressure that comes with now my mom done retired, my dad done retired, my brother ain't doing nothing. Like, I have to take care of all these people, and like, who's checking on me? I always say this, and it's a running joke against in my. It's not even a joke really. In my text thread is like, who takes care of the take care? Who looks out for that guy, right? And especially if your parents have become a person that become dependent of you. Again, hats off to my dad. Same thing. Like, I was looking, I'm like, man, Dad, I think it's about time for me to buy you a house. He's like, no, don't worry about me. I'm a man. I can take care of myself, right? Take care of your mom. And then, some years later, okay, if you're still up for it, we can figure that out. But I'm a man. Like, I'm gonna take care of myself. So there was never any pressure.
Yeah, that's good.
And there's still somebody you can count on to be honest with you
Yes.
and give you real talk feedback about what needs to happen as far as just reflecting your best self back to you. There's something really meaningful, like you said, about somebody who doesn't want anything from you or need anything from you, hasn't become a fanboy, hasn't become a groupie, but can just be like, dude, I hope you see the level of stupid you're being right now.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And like, let's talk about that. Right. So how do you bring this to your kids in a way that lets them kind of, because it's the balance of letting them pursue their own passions and find their own purpose, all of that stuff, but really exposing them to the knowledge and the education that this is. How do you go about bringing this to your kids?
And not spoon feeding them everything.
Yes. Yeah. I think some things you got to experience on your own, right? Yeah. Like life, because you're not going to be there for every experience that your kids have.
That's
right. So for me, I'm big with my kids. I'm big on information. I'm big on financial literacy. And I'm big on making sure, like, I want my kids to play sports because of everything we just talked about, right? Sports is the one place that teaches you how to deal with adversity.
Yes, it does.
Teaches you how to work with different people from different backgrounds, from where, like, doesn't matter. Can we come together for one common thing, right? And then sports also teaches you that you can push yourself, like, and the results that you will get on the court, on the field, whatever, is going to be based on the work that you put in.
That's right. The work ethic, the grit.
Life
everything.
is like that.
That's right.
Like entrepreneurship, whatever, like all those different things is that's what life is about, right? It teaches you how to deal with adversity. Life is going to throw some curveballs at you.
Yeah.
How do you deal with it?
Right.
Life is going to like, you're going to have to work with different people on your journey to wherever you're going to go. Sports teaches you that, right? So those are things that I'm very big on with my kids, is just making sure that they learn how to deal with the adversity through sports. Because to be honest with you, their adversity is going to be completely different from the adversity I had growing up.
Of course.
That's right.
You can't duplicate that, nor would you want to.
No.
Right.
And there's benefits and other forms of adversity. And there's something about when kids know that they're trained to climb the mountain versus having had the mountain moved for them every single time. The confidence that comes when they know they're built strong from the inside out. I don't know that there's a much better gift we can give our kids than a sense of their own confidence.
1,000%. I think confidence goes a long way. Affirmation, I think, is huge for the boys. But also, again, like, life is going to throw curveballs. And I think, I don't want to sound insensitive, and I think that we've kind of gotten soft in thinking that life is supposed to be easy. Right. There's no blueprint to life. Right. There's things that we just don't control. I mean, there's a lot of things that we just don't control. And the thing we do control is how we deal with those things. I tell my boys all the time, it's like, man, whether you tell yourself you can or whether you tell yourself you can't, you're right. It's on you. Right. So if you believe you can't do it, you're right. You can't do it because you already told yourself you can't. But if you believe you can, you got to go work and do it. But you can, right? So for me, it's all about just making sure that they have the mental piece of what life is going to send them.
But I appreciate that you talking and preaching them the fundamental.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
that's the foundation. The fundamental of hard work, right? Consistency, reps,
man, that's everything.
Reps,
discipline,
right? Discipline, focus, grit, right?
The
problem
solving,
right?
Yeah. Exactly.
So if you're teaching the basic, because let's be honest, there's only so many curveball.
Yeah.
After a while, I'll be like, that's a curveball.
And you see it coming. You see it coming.
Yeah, you're like,
you know
okay,
what I mean?
I know how to hit that. I can move
and
my
you can
hands.
deal with it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But if we didn't teach the kid the basic, I mean, hell, what the hell they gonna do when they get a girlfriend and break up with them?
Oh man, they lose their minds, right? Yeah. Like, and I think you have to as a parent, like that's what parenting is. Yeah. Is being able to show your kids all these different things and prepping them for life. Yeah. But the notion of thinking that you're just gonna be your kid's friend and just send them out into the world and they're just gonna figure it. I think you're doing yourself a disservice. And I heard this quote is like, it's either you make it a little hard on them now, so it's easy on them later, or you make it easier on them now, and it's gonna be hard on them later, right? So I'm all for that, and making sure that my kids, and then going to the financial literacy component too. I'm big on that too, right? Making sure that they understand. Because finances is going to play a big role in your life, regardless where you're at.
Whatever you do for a living.
Like understanding money, I think is something that should be taught in schools. And I have my reasons for why I think it's not, but I'm going to make sure that I teach my kids.
I've seen you with your flashcards.
Yeah, man, I'm on it.
I seen you. I seen you walking those kids through those projects that you're doing, bro.
I have to, because I just think it's not something that I learned. I had to learn it at the age of 30. Well, let me shorten my kids' learning curve at the age of 12, 10, right? So now when they're 30, they're where I'm going to be at when I'm 40. You know what I mean? So like you just want the learning curve to be a little bit shorter.
How much do they love you teaching them on site? Do you force them? Are they inspired to come and learn? I mean, what do you know?
I think they don't know what they don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so interesting, right? And I keep bringing my dad up because as you get older, you start to realize the things that your parents were telling you, it starts to make a little bit more sense, right? There's things I'm looking back now, I'm like, man, that's what my dad meant. As a small thing, right? My dad used to, man, hey, don't leave your windows down in your car when you're at the park. Why, Dad? It's hot. Like when I get in the car, it's hot. Like it's Florida, it's hot. Like I'm like, he's tripping. Like he don't know what he's talking about. You know what I mean? And then as I become older, and I'm like, I'm gonna tell my kids the same thing because you just don't know, like, and based on where we live, like you don't know what people can throw in your car, and then you get pulled over, and then you in trouble for something you didn't really know was in there, right?
So like, it might start raining, you now you got your shits wet.
Yeah, like there's so many different things that could happen, right? So like it's interesting. So I say all that to say is they don't know what they don't know is you expose them to these things, and then one day it's just gonna resonate with them. Yeah. Like, oh man, my dad used to say this all the time. It makes sense.
Did your kid ever say, "Damn, Dad, man, you're overloading me," or "Back up a little bit," or
nah,
you're killing me?
Nah, we're not there yet. And he better neither one of them better ever say anything like that. No, we're not there. No, I think you just drop gems whenever you can.
That's right.
Right? And it just becomes, because it's to the point now with my oldest, he's like, yeah.
How old is your oldest?
13.
Okay.
He's like, yeah, I knew he was about to say that when I asked that question.
Okay.
He's like, that's good. You're learning something.
Yeah.
For my 37th birthday, this was cool. And this is one of the things that made me realize that they're paying attention even though they act like they're not. For my 37th birthday, they got me 37 shares of Volkswagen because they were like, well, we can't buy you a Lambo. Right. And Volkswagen owes Lambo.
That's right.
So we're going to buy you some shares. And so we're investing. And I was like, this is probably one of the more thoughtful gifts that y'all have gotten me because y'all actually been listening to what I've been saying just on investing and knowing what to do with your money, right? Yeah. Like, so I thought that was, now it hasn't done well, but the thought was there though, right? Like you're thinking about some of the different things that I'm talking about. So I know they're listening, and it's my job to just keep pouring into them, keep pouring into them.
That's good, bro.
It's the drip.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, and your want to give back goes beyond just your family and your core group of people. Talk a little bit about the philanthropic work that you do.
Yeah, no. So I have two organizations that I'm a part of now. I have my family organization, which is the Cliff Avril Family Foundation, which is geared towards juvenile diabetes. But we also have a mentoring program that I've had over the last 7 years. 10 boys that since they were in third grade, now these boys are in high school. It's kind of crazy to watch them grow up. But it's all about exposing them to different opportunities in different professions, right? You can't dream about things you don't know exist,
Yes,
right? You
that's
can't
right.
dream about things you've never seen, right? So for me, it's exposing them to, the example I love to give is, I took them to the Seahawks facility. Like now, most people look at the Seahawks as just the football players, but every profession you can think of is in that building. Whether you talk about lawyers, you talk about engineers, you talk about doctors, trainers, chefs, to janitors, whatever. Like every profession you can think of is in that building, and that's the Seattle Seahawks. But we only think about the athletes.
Yeah.
So for me, I take them there and show them that, right? Because again, if you don't know, which most people probably don't realize, but if you don't know, you can't think you can be a part of Seattle Seahawks outside of being an athlete.
Right.
Well, guess what? When we won the Super Bowl, all those people got bonuses and rings too.
What?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Even all the way down to the cat. All the way down.
Everybody got something.
I like
right?
the look of,
I like that, bro.
I'm picturing the cafeteria with like all the people with their rings on
Yeah.
under the gloves, just like
Exactly, right.
serving the food and they're blinging out of it. Yeah,
So everyone was a part of that because that's a true team culture, right?
That's
but like
right.
you don't know that unless you're a part of that stuff, right? So that's the Cliffs crew. We call them the Cliffs crew. Those are the boys that I've been mentoring. But I'm also a part of Champions of Change, whereas Doug Baldwin, Michael Bennett, and myself, we all came together because we understood that, we all are doing different things in the community.
Yeah.
But if we came together, we can make an even bigger impact, right? So that organization is all about supporting all grassroots organizations here in the city of Seattle. And we know about all the big organizations that are doing great work, your Seattle Children's and some of those different organizations, but there's a lot of grassroots organizations that are also doing some great work as well. So we're shedding light on them. We're supporting them. We're making sure that we're trying to build an ecosystem for all of them as well, to be able to piggyback and continue to keep doing great work in the community as well. So for me, it's all about giving back. And a lot of people ask why. It's because honestly, it's my upbringing, right? I used to watch my mom. Her and my best friend, his mom. I used to watch them kind of go back and forth on who would be late on their rent for the month to be able to send money back to Haiti.
Okay.
Right. So like I used to be like, I know I just seen the pink slip for the rent, or I know I seen for the electricity or whatever. And her whole thing was like, look, yeah, our electricity might get cut off here in the next week or two, potentially. And she never let it get cut off, but it could potentially get cut off. But the people in Haiti don't have electricity, right? So now it becomes a perspective thing and understanding that, like, yo, no matter how bad we might feel we have it here in this country and all the differences and all these different things, it sure could be worse.
Yeah.
You just got to go out into the world and see that, right? And I got to see it firsthand being Haitian, right? Understanding that so seeing my mom willing to take late payments and different things like that to be able to send money back always showed me that you can always give back. You can always. So who am I to have a platform that I've been fortunate to have for so long to not give back?
Yeah.
It wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And couched and layered in appreciation,
Yeah.
right? In a place of like,
1000%.
or the
1000%.
abundance of that, of like wherever it is that we think that we might be lack, there's always a way to have perspective that shows us just how good we've already got it.
1000%. And society does a great job of trying to separate and make us think, all these different things. And, not to get political or anything, like the country is what it is, right? But the one thing is understanding that, there's a lot of bad things that are going on. But again, if you go out into the world and you see how people are really living, you will appreciate this.
Yeah.
You'll appreciate
And
this.
especially, I've been seeing people that live in U.S. like, man, U.S. sucked on this, sucked on that. Well, shit, you ain't got to live in U.S. You can go back to, you can go check out Vietnam. You be like, real appreciate
You really see what's cracking out there. You'll really see what's going on. And for me, and like you think of some of the worst cities in America. You talk about Chicago, you think about the projects in New Jersey, New York, all these different places, right? And don't get me wrong, these places, they're not the best, right? I have family and friends that are in Haiti that would be like a mansion to them.
That's like Beverly Hills for them.
That's a mansion to them.
Yeah.
So it's all about perspective.
That's
now,
right.
again, this is just show you perspective is everything, but also understanding that like this could be worse.
Yes.
It could be way worse. Now, we have an opportunity to better ourselves too, right? But it could be worse. And if you have that level of appreciation and understanding, it'll motivate you too.
That's right.
To do better as well.
That's right.
And there's something in the being able to then see wherever it is that I'm at, there's always something that I can offer, contribute. Like my situation is never devoid of an opportunity to find a way to elevate or support or contribute in some way.
Yep, and that's exactly what my mom taught me, right? With like, there's always an opportunity to give back.
Right.
You know, okay, you might not be able to get the new J's this week.
Right.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Like, you can give back. You can always pour back into the community as well.
That's what's so cool, I think, about how Champions of Change looks for those grassroots organizations and the difference that what you can infuse into their budget is a game changer.
Goes a long
and
way.
sometimes they're fulfilling this tiny little sliver of need in the community that otherwise is going to go unmet. And so I think it's always been really cool to me, coming from a nonprofit background myself, is knowing what the difference it makes for the grassroots ones that are
How do you
seeing the
pick
need.
the grassroots organizations for you got to contribute to?
So for us, every year we've tried to pick something different. Now, I've always picked the Odessa Brown Clinic because I've just, since my wife introduced me to them, actually about 6-7 years ago, I've just been infatuated with like what they've meant to the city of Seattle, right? People can go there and get dental work. It's a one-stop shop, right? And for me, it's just something that's needed, right? In a country like this, it's needed. People should not be able to not have certain things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've been enamored with them, but every year the guys pick a different grassroots organization that they're affiliated with or that they've kind of done some work with to some degree, and then we just try to pour into them. And because if you think about it, they're like, as an example, some shelters might just seem too big for some people. But these grassroots organizations is like, okay, you know, we can only take 15 people, and they feel more and more comfortable going into this space, right? So like, just those types of examples, I think, are huge. So pouring into them and giving them, you know, more resources, that budget, adding more to their budget, I think just goes a long way.
So
Go ahead. So, and this year you're kind of morphing that, you're dovetailing that in with another passion of yours,
That's right.
pickleball.
Yes.
So how did you decide, because in the past you've done like a fundraising gala and then a celebrity basketball game. And then, I love the idea of having watched the draft component of that celebrity basketball. I think that probably would have been pretty fun. But now this year you've decided to make it a pickleball tournament instead. How did you arrive at that?
And there's there's not a basketball tournament this year. There's a pickleball tournament this year, right?
Yep. So we transitioned from basketball. So the last 3 years we've done basketball at Climate Pledge.
Yep.
Been great turnout, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 people every year. Great for the community. But we're also getting older, and we're not recovering as fast as we used to running up and down that basketball court. So we've pivoted to pickleball this year, and like you just said, a passion of mine. I picked up pickleball about 2 or 3 years ago, and it's a blast. I get the cardio, I get all my basketball movements without all the jumping up and down. So this year we've gone to a pickleball model, and also with pickleball obviously being created out here, it's another way of getting fans involved, getting people involved, getting the community involved as well, right? Yeah. So you can play in this tournament. All the funds is going to go to, you know, an organization, and you know, it's just going to be a good time, and it's all about bringing everyone together. We're still going to have some celebs there. You guys call them celebs. I call them my friends because they're just Michael
Normal.
Bennett. Like, he's just another guy to me. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna have a lot of guys in the building still, and it's all for a great cause. But again, it's now more interactive with the community instead of just sitting in the chair watching us.
Is the community get to partner up with a celeb, or how does that work?
Yep. So all you gotta do is go to championschangefoundation.org. But yes, you can partner up with a celeb. You can play against a celeb.
Okay.
And
is
then
it single or double? Or
it's all doubles.
All
man.
double.
No,
Okay.
I can't play no singles. Singles is too hard. But it's fun though. I'm looking forward to it. Just something different. And again, getting people involved, getting people active.
That's the cool thing, bro.
Yeah.
Because in basketball, like, man, I ain't got no basketball skill. I ain't even 6'7", but I'm a little short, little Asian dude. But I can run around. I can run around on the pickleball.
On
you know?
pickleball, exactly. So we're just finding ways to bring the community together, but also raising money for the community.
That's right.
Where are you holding this at, bro? I mean, there's gonna be a lot of people who want to sign up for this tournament.
Yeah, please do. It's gonna be at it's the Gorin in Redmond. It's at the Gorin in Redmond, and it's gonna be a great time. I think they have like 13, 14 courts.
Dang.
So we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a blast. It's all for a great cause, and I'm there to win it. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's that competition.
I heard you look competitive, bro.
That's that competition.
Okay.
I've been training. I've been training, and I'm serious about it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And
when is it?
You put me right on the spot. I think it's June 28th. June 28th. I think is that correct?
That's correct.
Yep, June 28th. So I'm looking forward to it. I want to come. Yep, June 28th. I was dead on. There we go. June 28th, and go to championshipchangefoundation.org to get all the information. Please just come out and support. You can just come out and spectate, or you can come out and play, have a good time, and some of your favorite athletes and entertainers will be there.
And pickleball is such a forgiving sport.
Yes.
Like it's so. I think it's so accessible.
Yes. Anybody can, and it's the one. So I call it the new golf.
Yes,
right?
it is.
And why I say it's the new golf is because you can get out there with some 65-year-olds and we're where you're behind.
Oh my goodness!
Right.
Yes.
So I love every piece of that. And then you have the camaraderie and the conversations as well. But I love the fact that you can go out there and a 60-year-old will humble you quick.
Yeah.
And you can see that as something you can do for yourself. Like it's a lifelong thing that you can continue to do.
And you know your boy Lorenz, right?
Yeah.
He been telling me he been practicing pickleball.
Oh,
bro.
has he? Okay.
I'm gonna have to get out there and see how kind of skill he got.
Hey, let's get him out there. Let's get him out there.
What are some of the other ways people can get in touch with you, Cliff, if they want to hear more about what you're up to?
Please. So social media, both on TikTok and Instagram. My TikTok is all real estate right now, and it's simple. It's at Cliff Avril, and same thing on Instagram. And then also my website is cafamilyproperties.com. Check out all the different projects that we have, my team and different things like that. But I'm here for it, man. I'm here to again. I'm definitely going to take this journey. I'm all for the real estate space, but also I'm down for teaching, right? I'm down for, and I'm not saying I'm a guru. I'm not saying I'm a teacher, but I'm just saying I'm down for giving you my experience.
I love it, bro. Yeah. We want to wrap up this and ask you one, what does wealth mean to you? And then we got a bunch of rapid fire, questions.
Let's do it.
And we'll end it with that.
Yeah.
But,
what does wealth mean to me?
Yeah, what does wealth mean to you, bro?
Wealth to me is being able to put my friends and family without giving them money in a better situation and putting their money to work. But the real example of that for me is I would love to be able to get to the point where I can call any one of my little cousins or my brother and like, hey, let's go to the Bahamas this weekend.
Right.
And no one is like, we can't go because we don't have the money. They can go because of their cash flow, and I don't have to foot the bill, right? Like that's
awesome, dog.
So wealth to me
that.
is being my family and friends being able to move around as they please because they were able to create and generate that cash flow to sustain their lifestyle.
Not like, I'll go, bro. But can you spot that ticket?
Yeah. Can you pay for it? No. That's where we're at right now. I need us to get to the point where everybody can, like, that's wealth to me.
I love it, bro.
There's such a ripple effect in that too, right? The sense of self-assurance and the independence that they feel in that, the confidence and competence, and then they're taking that and dropping the pebble in their pond, and then the way that keeps going.
And it becomes it's a snowball effect, right? Then the next generation, they know they have a different start and they have an understanding, and then so on and so on.
Yep.
We love it. All right, we got a bunch of rapid questions, Steph. I just wrote down some. Whatever comes to our mind, we just rip it at them. You know what I mean?
Yes, for sure.
Right?
So what was your favorite moment as a Seahawk?
Oh, the Super Bowl, by far. The Super Bowl is definitely my favorite moment just because, honestly, because of how my journey started. If you know me, you heard this story before, but I was the only player in NFL history for a good bit there that went 0-16 to win the Super Bowl, right? So like my journey of going 0-16, being the only first team to ever go winless in a season.
And who was that?
With the Detroit Lions.
Let's be clear. We're not trying to hang that on the Seahawks. Let's just get that right.
With the Detroit Lions.
Okay, there we go.
I went 0-16 with the Detroit Lions, and then my first year with the Detroit Lions, and then my first year with the Seattle Seahawks, we went to the Super Bowl. So that was one of the biggest moments of my
thought
career.
your biggest moment, bro, was the fastest
score?
Yeah.
Well, the fastest score in Super
Tell
Bowl
them what
history.
happened, dog. Let them know.
Yeah. So I also hold the record for the fastest score in Super Bowl history with 12 seconds. And I love to say this because the irony in that is we have the 12s as our fans, right? So being able to have the fastest score in Super Bowl history at 12 seconds is huge.
Nice.
Thank you.
Nice.
Yes.
What's the best financial advice that you ever got?
Best financial. the best financial advice that I would say I've ever gotten is honestly just learning the difference between assets and liabilities, right? And dumbing it down. Assets are, and my kids, everybody in my house knows this, but assets are investments in things that cash flow, things that give you money. Liabilities are things that take money out of your pockets, cars and some of these other little toys that we like to buy. So just learning the difference between assets and liabilities and living with that being the foundation of how you move.
Nice.
What's one thing that if you don't achieve it, you will have not fulfilled the mission of your life, the calling on your life, what you were born for?
Going back to what I said earlier, I think if the mission for me is being able to help my friends and family create generational wealth through real estate. I think that's my mission. If I can have 5 to 7 of my family members, by the time they're 45, they have that cash flow coming because they started investing early and understanding investing and all that good stuff. I think that would be extremely gratifying on so many levels.
What if there's one thing that your kid can remember you for? One thing, bro, right? They can say, oh yeah, my dad, blah. What do you think if there's one thing that your kid can remember you for? What would you say it would be?
Oh, that's a good one. Right now, one thing, I think that one, oh, well, you said one thing, so it can't be two. I would say it would be that he always wanted the best for them. Like I want, and right now it might not seem like it because it's hard and it's different and whatever else. But again, when they get older, they'll realize that their dad always just wanted the best for them. And we tell our kids all the time, like, look, no one outside of this household loves you more than the people in this household. Right? So like, I want them to just know that and understand that for the rest of their lives, that their parents, their dad, no one will love them more than that.
I love it.
That's awesome. What's something you would tell your younger self?
That's a good one.
Something I would tell my younger self. Honestly, start investing earlier. Start investing earlier in real estate. I think I would have had more doors opened up for me if I would have started earlier, obviously while I'm in the NFL or something like that. But I think that would be the one thing. And then also I would say, well, you said one, but enjoy the journey.
Yes.
Enjoy the journey. When I was in the NFL, and maybe it had to be this way, but when I was in the NFL, like we're so locked in because we understand it's a short window.
That's right.
Even like the Super Bowl, as an example, last year we celebrated our 10th year of winning it. That was the first time we actually celebrated it.
Interesting.
That was the first year we actually got to sit and realize how great of a team we had.
What do you think? What do you think created the delay? Why wait so long?
I think it's because one, it's such a short window, but as an athlete, you learn not to sit in your wins and losses, right? So win or lose, you have to move on.
What's next?
What's next, right? Even in our Super Bowl ring, it says what's next. Like that's literally our motto.
Yeah.
It was what's next, right? So I think that's why, is because we're always trying to find ways to get better. Because you get a sack, right? You get a sack in the first quarter, or you get a sack, you have to move on within 15 to 20 seconds. You jump off sides, you have to move on within 15 to 20 seconds. So like we've always lived our life like that. So we never really get to back. It's after the fact. And honestly, I still kind of operate that way, where it's like, I want to just keep getting better. I'm going to take my lumps, whatever. And then you look back, you're like, oh man, look what we created.
Yeah, I love it.
You know what I mean? So that's maybe enjoy it a little bit more, but not too much more.
Yeah,
exactly.
How important to you to be visible, representing a Black person, being a real estate entrepreneur, real estate investor, a dad, and an entrepreneur?
Oh man, I think it's extremely important because you don't see that many Asian folks. You don't really see that. You don't really see that many Black folks in real estate.
That's right.
Right. So I think it's important because, again, why my platform is catered to giving the game back is because I think it's important to see representation matters. Yeah. That's just what it is, right? So it's important for kids to see a married man that's in real estate with kids, athlete, all these different things. I think it's extremely important to see it so you can, again, going back to what I said earlier, like you can't dream about things you don't see out there.
That's right.
Right. So I just think it's extremely important to see it. And then also to some of the I'm going to say the lies and myths about not being able to do it as a Black person.
For real, bro.
I think all that stuff is just mindset.
That's it.
Well,
that's the case. Then I'm going to ask you, what's the biggest mindset thing you learned from either football or a dad or an investor today?
I'm going to, just off the top of my mind, I'm going to go off that quote that I just said. Like, whether you believe you can, whether you believe you can't, you're right.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's all about your mindset, and understanding that you can do and be whatever it is that you want to do if you're willing to work for it. That's my quote for my kids, actually. Actually, I think I got it on this banner right here. You can be, so I would say those two things. From a mindset perspective, it's all about how you view the situation.
Yeah. What's next for you?
So I have a huge project going on right now. We're hoping to break ground here in the next month. I have a 70-unit apartment building that I partner up with Amazon on, actually. Affordable housing building in Cap Hill.
Capitol Hill?
Yeah, in Capitol Hill right now that I'm
micro
working
apartments
on.
or what?
They're not micro, but they also aren't like the biggest. You know what I mean? But they're decent sized units. But yeah, 70 units in Cap Hill near transit. And it's another way for me to give back, right? I think it's kind of crazy that your teachers, your nurses, police officers can't live in the cities that they work.
That's right.
I think that's weird to me. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand why.
Yeah.
But I think that's so unfortunate because they're the veins of the community, right? So I feel like it's another way of being able to give back, but also make some money as well.
I love it, bro. What advice can you give someone who's been on the fence and they want to get into real estate, but they're scared to pull the trigger?
Hey, you gotta jump off the porch. You gotta at some point. There's only so many books, so many podcasts, so many seminars you can go to. At some point, the real experience is gonna be getting out there and playing the game.
Getting that rep, get on the field, get the reps.
You got to get the reps. You got to get the reps. You're going to learn something. That's, again, why we say crawl before you walk. But you have to get the reps because there's going to be things that the book didn't tell you.
Yeah.
And how do you adjust to that?
That's
how do you grow from that, right? Yeah. So I would say get off the porch, go make some things happen, man. Make something shake. So let's go do it.
All right, one last one. What's the next car, bro?
Man, you know what?
What's the next car, bro?
Man, so... as you know, and how we met, if people don't know how we met at the Drivers Club.
Yeah.
We're both into cars,
right?
And I had a McLaren that was in there.
Crazy, wide body, everything.
Oh man, it was nuts.
Ridiculous.
It was one of 15. It was one of my favorite cars. But when I decided to get into real estate, I sold all my cars and invested it in real estate and invested in my company. And I said that I have to work. This has to work so I can make sure I buy my cars.
Right.
Right. So I'm in that phase now. I want to get the 70 unit done. But once I get that done, the next car that I want to get, honestly, I've never been into Aston Martins. But
I see you driving that, bro, on the Gold Rush, bro. What's up?
I'm driving the DBX 707, and so I have one on order, and I think that's gonna be the next one. I'm just trying to figure out, if there's a nice kit for it or something like that. And I like different things anyway, so I think it's gonna be that, and then probably get another McLaren at some point again.
Nice.
Yeah. But the DBX 707 from Park Place is the spot.
Nice, brother. Well, I think this podcast has been uplifting, inspiring in so many different ways.
Yes.
What do you think?
Absolutely. I think well done, Cliff, on using your life to the fullest, on being a great expression of yourself and really doing all the things to live a full expression of yourself and make a difference and use your life really, really well.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
That's
I
really
appreciate
cool
it. But before we go, I want to thank you guys as well, right? Because you guys play a big role in my real estate journey as well, right? Although I'm not on every Springboard call or anything like that, but I never will forget the time that I either DM'd Thach or whatever it was, but just riding around the city and like seeing what he was up to really motivated me, right? And I'm one of those folks that like I love seeing people win, because it's a form of motivation for me. Right. So seeing what Thach was doing, seeing how involved you are as well, Stephanie, and the teamwork of it all. You guys motivate us. Like you motivate me in particular. So although you might not hear it all the time, you guys are doing a really good job in using the platform and growing folks. So thank you guys for what you guys do in the real estate community, or in just general the community with the Rave Foundation and all that stuff too. So you guys keep up the great work. Y'all are inspiring folks as well.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
We gotta make sure Cliff understands. All right. So you all know that you're not really understanding this game unless you understand mindset.
Yeah, that's a fact.
We got to make sure my man Cliff is repping the right thing, my man. This is the new line.
You know what's funny?
It's the new line, bro.
What's funny is when we got off air, I was definitely going to ask like, yo, how can I get one of them?
That's the new line, bro, right? You cannot be a true Springboard official, baby, unless you get the real deal. Hey, bro, what's the quality like, dog? Let us know.
Awesome. Great. This is a great hoodie, and I love me some hoodies.
That's right, sir.
Oh yeah, I love it.
I even got your side for you, dog. I knew you, dog.
I appreciate it, my man. Thanks.
Give it up to my man Cliff, baby. Let's go.